Episode 15, Sensible Living Podcast and Blog. I am your host, Michael McGregor, in the mobile studio as always. What is today's topic? Well, today, let's talk a little bit more about your first aid supplies. You got your EMT bag. You got your IFAK. We have our IFAK. We have our EMT bag. We have our boo-boo kit. We have a few things here and there. That's fantastic. Something happens. Shit hits the fan scenario. Our shift scenario. Super zombie volcano. EMT. EMP. Not EMT. EMP. Global collapse. Everyone's other favorite. Martial law. The tyrannical government is going to lock down every city, every block, and every suburb. Okay. Regardless of that, things are down for a couple months or a couple weeks. Supply chain's down. You got your first aid bags. So, what's in your storage of first aid supplies? Do we have antibiotics? Do we have painkillers? Do we have vitamins, some of the more important vitamins, minerals, like C, C, D, A, E, beta carotene, we can go down the list, iron, B12, B vitamins, What about your prescription medications? What do we have here? What are we looking at? So, what if someone gets a infection, say a cyst? You got someone there, they can cut it open, they can drain it, and they drain the cyst. What are you going to pack it with? Do you have enough stuff on hands to get to get by? Because I don't know about you, but I've seen someone have a infection removed, had it removed out of their bicep, and they drained it, and it was nasty. All that nasty pus and infection and that stink left a big hole. Dudes, they take gauze, they pack it in there, and you have to remove that gauze multiple times a day because it has to heal from the inside out, or you're gonna have a lot of problems. So let's say, I use gunshot wounds. You gotta pack that up. Do you have enough gauze, enough medical supplies to get you by for that type of situation? Yeah, great. I got a little EMT bag right here. That's meaning after I'm done packing them up, I'm sending them to the hospital. In your first aid kits and everything, in your storage, do you have enough of the gauzes, the Band-Aids, the, additional materials that you need to keep after you've depleted that small? If this is a long-term scenario and you don't have all of that, if you're serious about your food storage, your year's worth of food, a year's worth of water, your rainwater collection and all that stuff, where's your first aid sitting? How much gauze on hand? How many antibiotics? And what are you doing for antibiotics? Are we doing the veterinarian thing? We're getting fish mocks and all that? You able to talk to your doctor and get a few extra little things here and there every so often to carry you through? What about some basic just cold medicine stuff? Hey, it's cold and flu season, and let me tell you something. Every year, almost like clockwork, I get a nasty, nasty chest cold. Lasts for about a week. My lungs fill up. No fever. No fever, no head, no aches or pains, just a nasty, nasty cough. Hard for me to do anything without going into like a 15 to 20 minute coughing spasm. I have to use an expectorant, and I go through a lot of it. I go through probably about 2 bottles of Mucinex just trying to keep it so I can breathe. So do we have enough of that? Also, just basics, vitamins and minerals. Some of you might not buy into the vitamin thing. I personally believe in vitamins. Anything from B12 to ginger. Anything from B12 to ginger root, turmeric, curcumin, all that stuff. So I always have that on hand. And I include that aspirin, allergy pills, Benadryl. What first aid supplies are you storing? One for me, like I said, I've had, eye surgery done. My eyes dry out pretty bad. I actually have to go in and get a touch-up because I really only have about a 10-foot distance of clear vision. There's only about a 10-foot window anymore. So I'm going to go through, and I make sure I have eye drops. I have eye gel. My wife, she suffers from a lot of muscle spasms in her back because her neck is, not properly setting right. She's always straining it. So we keep a lot of the BioFreeze stuff, Ace bandages, stuff. You got to think about your disposable stuff and stuff you cannot reuse. Alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, this stuff. These are important things to keep stored along, not necessarily in the same area as your food supplies, but in your food supplies. Hand sanitizer, soaps. Are we doing what we need to do to keep our first aid supplies completely stocked up? What are we doing to make sure that our medical supplies, our basic pills, basic, pain relievers, anti-inflammatories, stuff like that, are stocked up so we don't have as many issues with them? Okay, a little sporadic today, but back to what we were talking about. Sorry about that break, but guess what? With the magic of video and podcasting, you don't even realize that I took a 45-minute break. You do now because I told you. So, back to your first aid supplies. Vitamins, minerals, pain relievers, allergy pills. All that stuff needs to be in large quantities, much like your food and your water supplies. Your bandages, the same thing. Splinter removal kit, or here's a shameless plug, the Readyman Foreign Object Removal Kit. It's about $45. We'll actually use the YouTube stuff, and we'll put up a price check, and I'll fix that if it's the wrong price. But I think it's $45 for the Foreign Object Removal Kit. The Readyman Fork. And that's just little tools that help you remove basically foreign objects. And it even comes with like a jeweler's magnifying glass that's like 20x or something like that. We'll have more stuff. I'll link it in the comments section for everybody. But that thing is incredible. Have one of those. Have two of them in your first aid kits. Splinters are a horrible thing. Honestly, people have actually died from splinters. So, staph infection. And that goes back to an older episode, the hygiene kit. Keep your hands, keep your body clean. That way, if you get a small cut, it doesn't turn into a nasty infection. It doesn't get worse. Let's be proactive, not reactive. If you can keep your illnesses down and stuff like that, longer survival. We're all trying to keep that timeline as long as possible, that we're, we want to keep that dash as long as possible that we're here on this earth. And just because there's a situation, a shift scenario, or a grid down or whatever, we still got to pay attention to what we're doing, and we got to try to maintain that stuff. So consider that part of your prep is having the first aid supplies, and just having just a first aid boo-boo kit. It's not enough. Not if you're trying to be a prepper. It's a survivalist, or whatever you want to call it, or just being diligent of situations. If it's down for a week, down for a month, down for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 10 years, forever. And when we start moving toward things like forever, there's no way you can store enough stuff for forever. So you got to start looking into other ways of handling that. And then that goes into the whole concept of triage. You know, how bad is that wound, and do we waste supplies on this person that we're going to waste more supplies trying to keep them alive than their chances of living? And that's a scary situation then, because you're starting to figure out, you know, that's triage, not easy, where you get to decide, where you have to decide who gets care and who doesn't. So keep that in mind. So that's with that. And just something a little extra, throw it in there for episode 15. You know, entertainment. We go from, you know, first aid and dying to entertainment. Have some entertainment for your bug out scenarios. Playing cards, an acoustic guitar, board games. I know we're in a touch. Our society has moved to such technology that we forgot about board games. Having board games, Monopoly, Risk. There's one I used to love. I still love it. Axis and Allies is a World War II game. That's a long game. You start playing that, you're playing that for hours. Risk, I've heard people go on for days. Chess, checkers, Scrabble, the Japanese game of Go. Having entertainment, something to pull yourself away from. Having some good books that you can read in a a situation. Not only just a good book to, you know, pull you away, but educational books such as, you know, bushcrafting. Dave Canterbury and the survival Dave Canterbury and the Self-Reliance School is something that I subscribe to, and I practice many of those teachings that they have, and that's something that you keep in mind. You got to have entertainment. You got to pull you away. You cannot run at 100% all the time. I know there's some, you know, go heavy hitter, go getter, real meat eaters out there. They think they can. You can't. Eventually, your body will shut down. You can't go 100% all the time. So keep that in mind. You want to de-stress. You want to get away from it. Plus, if you have kids, the wife, and, you know, or your husband or whatever, whoever the main, you know, doer in your situation is, you know, the donors, the ones that aren't currently active in it, that are the non-hunters, and you know, you want to give them something to do. A game of cards, you know, play solitaire, you know, give them some books. Part of the book should be maybe stuff on the Constitution, the Federalist Papers, the Anti-Federalist Papers. So if we do go into one of those terrible situations where martial law, and we're changing how the world is, and we're losing our identity as a country because the commie, socialist, fascists are moving in, you know, that's something you want to keep in mind. You know, you want to have that stuff available to you, so you can teach the younger, you know, generations and stuff like that, you know, so that they're aware, and, you know, so that they're aware of everything and all that good stuff. And education, maybe someone in your group will be teaching people stuff, and that's what you got to do. Okay, this is Michael McGregor. We'll touch more upon entertainment and other entertaining things much later on, and you have a wonderful day, and we're out.